Virginia Kolb was a well-known singer and touched many with her talents, but she lost her battle to ALS 6 months ago. Now her husband, Steve, is working hard to help find a cure for this deadly disease. That story is yours in this week's edition of Reck on the Road. Members of the Virginia Symphony Orchestra last week took the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge for many reasons. First and foremost, to support a dear friend, Steve Kolb, who lost his wife Virginia 6 months ago to ALS.
The music world is a small world, and we're really intertwined. And when he was going through ALS with his wife, they just fought such an incredible battle, and all we could do was stand on the sidelines. So it's fantastic that we feel like we can do something to support him after all that.
I met Virginia when we were in college in 1983. We were both at the same college out in the Midwest, and we were both in the music school. Although we always said it was our friendship that brought us together as much as anything else. And then music became increasingly important to us as we went along together. Virginia was a soprano, really wonderful soprano, well-known locally and singing at the Virginia Chorale and doing cabarets and singing at churches and so on. And I was her accompanist. You know, sometimes you meet somebody and I think we both felt really lucky in love.
Virginia's first symptoms were discovered in September of 2011. She was diagnosed with ALS by December that same year.
Virginia had a weakness in one of her hands, a muscle that seemed to, on her thumb that seemed to contract, and there was a little caving in next to her thumb. And then also a slight slurriness in her speech that even later by the end of that year, people who didn't know her wouldn't notice it, but I noticed it right away.
33 months after diagnosis, in March of this year, Virginia Kolb lost her battle to ALS.
It was the most profound experience that I think any of us have had. Here was this vital person, very independent, very strong, physically strong, and personally strong, who in a matter of months became completely dependent. And it was hard, it was hard for her to lose those skills one at a time.
ALS is such a complicated disease that there is only one good treatment, and it only adds a few extra months to one's life. But in 2011, a mutation was discovered in a percentage of people with ALS on chromosome 9.
This chromosome 9 mutation is also of a type that's better understood because it shows up in other neurodegenerative diseases. And so there's a lot of hope that this being a disease that we have better understanding of, that we'll be able to unravel it more quickly.
Part of Steve and Virginia's brave fight was to help promote the C9ID project to help benefit future generations. And while the Ice Bucket Challenge has raised millions of dollars in support of a cure, it's also given hope to those suffering from this horrible disease.
But beyond the money, I think maybe the greatest gift for patients who are living today with this awful disease with no good treatments is the sense that they're not alone. ALS can be really isolating, and it's hard to explain it. It's complicated. It's kind of off-putting sometimes, the symptoms that patients exhibit. Everyone thinks that they're drunk or their minds are not clear, and I've seen this really buoy up the spirits of ALS patients across the country.
Steve and Virginia fought a courageous battle and continue to do so, educating people and raising money towards a further research in that C9ID project. You can find out much more about the C9ID project by going to Steve's Facebook page, C9ID.
Thanks for that story, Chris. It was very nice.
Stick around, we'll be right back.